We'll move on to Abdullah to pitch. Abdullah, all yours.
Sure. So I think I'll just start with kind of a quick thing, just to know kind of how to go about this. Do you know a little bit about fantasy football, how it works? Have you tried playing a game before, Cornelius, or anyone in general?
Yeah.
Just because. Okay, great.
Perfectly aware of it. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll skip kind of some of the basics, but essentially I think I don't need to sell it to an audience like this, but obviously football, is the biggest sport on earth. The potential is absolutely massive. There's been multiple billion-dollar sports games all around the world serving fans, but actually not so much in the MENA region. And that's what we're looking to kind of come in and do with. So essentially, Copa Fantasy is looking to become kind of the region's football super app. So what we're doing is we're starting with gaming platforms where fantasy football is our flagship game. We're covering multiple leagues like the Saudi League, English, Spanish, Champions League, and we're continuing to expand. And of course, there's going to be the World Cup next summer. You can play fantasy predictor games, but essentially you're kind of building your teams, you're adding your predictions, and you can win prizes like jerseys signed by football legends, like the one kind of right behind me. And that's kind of the tie-in of all this. And essentially with fantasy, it's a massive business globally. It's already kind of really been penetrated in multiple places like the US, but also all around the world, which I'll talk about in a second. But what we're focusing on is the MENA region, which has kind of one of the highest interests in sports and gaming around the world, and yet not really having a platform serving those fans. So now with the World Cup coming back shortly to Saudi Arabia and a really young tech-savvy population, we really think kind of this is something that's about to explode in the coming years. And just focusing on what I was mentioning there is fantasy sports businesses are really not niche anymore. There are billion-dollar businesses all around the world. It started within the US with companies like FanDuel. It's now also in South America, Europe, also India with Dream 11, but also multiple other platforms. And DFS has really exploded. And as you can see, something really missing is MENA, where we believe kind of anywhere there are sports fans and gamers, fantasy does succeed. And it's just about offering the right platform for that. Focusing a little bit on us. So I've worked on the Saudi League for over a decade at STC, Saudi Telecom, on a platform called Dori Plus that had 2.5 million monthly active users, and fantasy and predictor games with over 500,000 users. So that's where my expertise comes in. My brother is a finance expert. He manages a private credit fund at Amwal. We have Tom and Rory, who are FanDuel experts that actually built up FanDuel during their time in the US and the UK. And Mohammed al-Sheikh as well, which brings in some of the monetization and app experience. Briefly on our numbers, last season was our beta launch. We had around 30,000 monthly active users, a total of over 100,000 users, and that's where we just launched a test version of our monetization, which is a freemium model where you can join, play for free, and you can also join premium contests for a chance to win even bigger prizes, and that's where the monetization comes in. Our annualized revenue per paying user was already tracking to exceed our cost to acquire a customer, primarily through influencer marketing. And we're looking at now the current launch for this season, which just happened in August, and we anticipate that to 4x very quickly. So just for some context there, the first month of the season, so mid-August to mid-September, we already had more paid entries than the entirety of last season. And we expect this to continue to grow, and hopefully with the right kind of marketing that we want to push now over the coming 6 to 12 months, we think the World Cup is going to be the period where we really kind of peak and build towards the future. Very quickly, just kind of summarizing. So, everything I've talked about so far, we are focusing on MENA simply because it's the low-hanging fruit. However, this is a global play. We already are accessible globally. We're talking about fantasy, but we already have another game, Predictor, and we're building more games every year and actually building a football super app. And of course, football is not the limits to where we are. We're going to expand to other sports. There's esports, cricket, but also the esports World Cup next summer is actually the next thing on our horizon. So that's just a basic summary on where we are.
Thank you. Cornelius, questions?
Yeah, thanks so much, Abdullah, for that presentation. So, the MENA area, first of all, MENA region, we have, cultural diversity. And with this comes a lot of, different views and, opinions around fantasy football. And you are aware, this is not new. Anyway, it's known amongst the youth because sporting is one of the biggest things to them. How do you want to get to integrate this in terms of culture? How do you go around the cultural aspect of things?
Sure. So first of all, the platform is accessible for everyone and is available for everyone, partially through languages, but also because there's a number of things. I mean, football is a universal sport. You don't really need to do much to make it culturalized other than language. Where we localize it is based on our marketing. So that's where the influencers we speak to, the ones that we work with, they're the ones that will localize that to the right audience to really bring them in and tell them what they're doing. Otherwise, when they come in, they just need to see the player names, recognize it, whether it's in English and Arabic, which league they want to play, do they have the leagues they're interested in, and do they have the games that they're interested in. So all of that gets covered really by the platform being universal, and then the marketing is what will take that to that next step. However, I just want to answer your question about fantasy already being there. You're absolutely right. You can play the Fantasy Premier League game, for example. However, that's in English only for a season-long game where you have to be present and playing every single week, and you really don't have the chance to win any prizes. Our main differentiator is our contests are every single week. So you can compete for a new prize every week, and if you do badly in 1 week or forget to play 1 week, you can come back and play next week's contest. And then it being in English and Arabic, but then also English League, Spanish League, Saudi League, Champions League, you don't need to jump to different platforms to do all of that.
Okay. How do you plan to go about off seasons? Because this with soccer, especially football, we have got seasons, and I see like right now you're looking forward to the World Cup because that will drive you numbers and acquisitions. So what's your sustainability plan in regards to off seasons of whichever league?
Yeah, two main things. So first of all, starting from this coming summer, we actually don't anticipate there being any more off seasons, partially because there's going to be the World Cup. The year after that is going to be the Copa America. Following that, the year after that is the Euros, then the Club World Cup, and then the World Cup again. So we actually hit a cycle where off season is not going to be a problem for us anymore as we cover contests taking place in the summer. However, we're also introducing a new game, a trivia game, that we hope to be ready in the next 6 months. That's going to be one where we can actually run contests for it in between weeks, during international breaks, during the summer, whenever we want to run that. And that will actually be a very monetizable extra platform that we launch. So we anticipate that to cover us throughout the year.
Okay, thank you.